Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the last review of the Hammer House of Horror for this week. I picked out 3 random episodes to look at this week, and the third one is probably one of the classic ones from the series, the Hammer House of Horrors, and we're going to be looking at the episode called Silent Scream. Now this is the one that stars Peter Cushing and a very young Brian Cox, and it's a very clever story, and it's a very cool story to me. When I look at modern days sort of movies, it's sort of like a mixture of Don't Breathe and Saw. You're thinking what? Because this is a story about entrapment and claustrophobia and being a caged sort of prisoner. It's Brian Cox plays a young sort of man who's just come out of prison. Now his wrongdoings are not really explained, but he's a criminal and he's just come out of prison. He returns to home to his wife. Now they're pretty hard up on the old Reddies on money, but they've been given money by an old man that visited him when he was in prison, who's played by Peter Cushing. And Peter Cushing in this runs a pet shop. And in the pet shop downstairs in his sort of cellar, he keeps very exotic animals. And when I say exotic animal, I don't mean snakes and spiders and lizards. I mean lions and black panthers and bears and stuff, and they're all caged, but the cage doors are open because he's trying to train them into being sort of civilized, and so they can be maybe kept in zoos without cages. So that's what I get from what he's trying to do. Anyway, Brian Cox, sorry about noises, people being noisy outside. Brian Cox is goes to visit him at his pet shop to thank him for the money and stuff, because he gave him money for when he came out. So he was just there to sort of thank him for that. And he goes there and he starts talking to Pete, because he seems a lovely old man. And he's talking to him, what you're going to do, because I'm going to try and find a job. I've got all these addresses of places that sort of help sort of ex-cons and stuff. And Peter Cushing says, well, these are not the best places, because there's always that sort of field of suspicion and stuff like that. They don't really trust you. And he says, come with me. Anyway, so he shuts up his pet shop and he takes him downstairs and shows him his cages with all these sort of like exotic animals in. And they're all wild animals, they're not tame. They're all wild animals. And Peter Cushing offers him a job because he's going away for a few days. He wants him to look after the animals while he's gone, to feed them. He's shown them how to do it. They've got this electrical sort of field barrier that blocks the open doorway, and I think they've learnt not to go near it, or they get like electric shock and could be killed. And they've learnt that he once a day he switches it off and sounds a bell, and outside the doorway is their bowl of food, be it meat, be it fruit for like the baboons or whatever it is. They know that's the time for them to eat. So he's training them. And so Brian Cox decides to help him and do it. So he starts going on a daily basis and doing the feeding. And while he's there, he notices that there's a safe there. And he talks to his wife about it, saying there's a safe there. He says, maybe I could break into it, and maybe all our troubles could be solved. We could break into it and run away. Which I think, excuse me, it's not a very nice thing to do, considering all that Peter Cushing's doing is actually helping him out. Anyway, one day he goes there to feed the animals, and he goes towards the safe to open it. And as he successfully manages to code to open it, As he's just about to open it, there's a trap door beneath him, and he falls right through into this metal room, which is all metal. It's all like steel all the way around with one little glass window. So he is now caged into this room. So he has fallen into this trap, and this is all part of Peter Cushing's plan. He meant to do this. He meant to trap him. He was chosen. Why? You need to watch it and find out. Is he going to get out? Is his wife going to find out where he is? And if so, is she going to be able to help him? Or is she going to become a victim to Peter Cushing's plan as well? Whatever happens, you need to watch it and find out. What do I think of The Silent Scream? It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. This could have been turned into a movie, but instead it's been turned into a 53-minute episode of The Hammer House of Horror. But they could have extended this out and made it more like a movie, and I think that would have been fantastic, because it reminds me a lot of the remake of Planet of the Apes, if you've ever seen that, mixed with sort of like Saw and Don't Breathe, that sort of thing. And it's really cleverly done. It's such an amazing story. So the criminal and Peter Cushing really plays on Brian Cox's fears, because he has a phobia of being closed in because of prison and things like that, and stuff when he was young. So it's really, really clever play on fear, and it's absolutely fantastic. Now, the pluses of this edition, once again, Network have smashed it out the door with an incredible transfer. I wish Lionsgate would take some sort of lessons from Network and actually do a proper remaster versions of their Hammer films. But it looks stunning. The cast is stellar. How cool is it to see Peter Cushing in one of these episodes? And it's really cool to see a very young Brian Cox, another actor who I absolutely adore, in this episode. Really, really cool. The story is fantastic. It keeps you gripped all the way to the end. Negatives, none that I can think of. So I'm going to score this one in this series an essential one and call it and give it a 10 out of 10. So it's fantastic. Absolutely amazing episode of this series. There are a few 10 out of 10s in this series. I think the lowest one is probably a 7 and to a 6 out of 10. But all the rest are mainly 9s and 10s. This series is so worth picking up, guys, if you can. And if I was you, I would pick it up sooner than later. Why? Because Network have gone into liquidation, and so they're not producing any more stuff. And their stuff online is creeping up. This used to be able to pick this up for about 10, 12 quid. This is now getting up towards nearly the £30 mark, because they're going to be out of print, because the company has gone into liquidation. So please pick it up if you see it. It's worth it. 10 out of 10. The Silent Scream. Any of you guys seen that episode? Let me know down below what you think of it. It's a really incredible series. All these films are none of them are attached to each other. They are 13 mini movies, or horror movies, made by Hammer in one fantastic series. You have to pick it up if you're a horror fan, especially if you're a horror fan of vintage and retro horror films, as am I. You have to have it in your collection. It's absolutely fantastic. And that ends another week of sort of like looking at Hammer things. So this week we've looked at that. Last week we looked at Hammer. The week before we looked at Amicus. So we're going to move forward in the next few weeks looking at some more sort of film reviews, but are not attached to a company or something. Just my normal sort of reviews of things that I've picked up. that I've got sitting around and I've not got round to doing yet. So that's what's going to be coming up in the next few weeks. I've got a few releases on their way to me. A box set which I will do an unboxing and review the films in it. And if I get any pickups around my birthday, because it's my birthday in a couple of weeks, I will go through that with you and review some of those. So that's the plan going forward for sort of October. Until then, please check out some horror channels on me. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzle, I'm the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, and Haunted, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. Amazing channel. He's so into his horror movies and books, and he reviews both. So please go and check him out. And please buy his books. He's got a couple of stories that he's released. They're really good. And also a massive shout out to my lad Lemon Lord. So till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.